enjoys it, he likes it. And the people who follow him don't know that's what he's doing, but he knows, and his father knows that's what he's doing. And you know, the Passion movie, no one's got anything against Passion movies per se, but he knows this is a revival of the Oberammergau Passion play that was outlawed because of how the Nazis took advantage of it to encourage their virulent anti-Semitic invective. The Oberammergau Passion play was just a play in a town. He put it in a movie for the same purpose. He knows what he's doing. But people who watch it are inspired by the things that move them, and that's fair enough. But they don't know what they're being, how they're being manipulated any more than the people who would go to a Wagnerian opera in 19th century Germany would know what was going on. And even the people who were Wandervogel people. Wandervogel people are people who were into the later Hosen and hiking and doing all this stuff. They didn't know they were walking right into the Hitler Youth movement. They didn't know that. They didn't understand what was going to be done with these things. I mean, you see the same thing happening in Lebanon today. That's when you see them marching in the streets with their signs and their banners and their symbols. All that's taken right out of Nazi paraphernalia, Nazi regalia, just put a different symbolism and get them all marching. People love to watch marching humans for some unknown reason. I don't understand why. Okay, we have bands too in America, but I don't think we get so worked up and thrilled by seeing them in the street, maybe at a football field or something, because it's a sort of a fun sport type of thing, but not on the streets politically. Stormtroopers, and that's what you're getting. You're getting Shiite stormtroopers on the streets of Lebanon and Iran. And they know where they're taking their ideology from. They're just transforming it slightly. Okay, so these outbreaks of deep, long-expressed anger really only are these only a momentary outburst as hollow and irrational as the Teutonic anti-Semitism of 1819? There was obviously earlier outbreaks. It'd be a good topic for a paper, this, because I don't know anything about it. You guys look for papers. If you really want to do a paper, he's already giving you some pointers here. So this has been going on for quite a while. If the English and the French talk with some disdain of the German prejudice against Jews, we must reply to them, you don't know as you live in happier circumstances. And what's his point going to be? You're not inundated. That's what his point is. You know, that's what he means by happy. It's like the people who make a fuss about immigration from south of the border here. You know, they say to the others that don't care about the question, oh, you don't know what's happening. You know, all the people on the TV that beat the drum on that particular issue. Again, I don't mean to be, I'm not a political pundit, but I would say that anyone who's willing to serve in the U.S. Army and sacrifice themselves for the country and the Constitution, I don't care where they come from. You know, that's they show their loyalty and patriotism. And so many native-born Americans who aren't willing, and so there are many people from south of the border who, in fact, are willing, because they know more than a lot what's at stake. Because they come from countries where they know what it's like to have, well, look what's happening in Oaxaca today, and you'll have a good example of what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with what's going on in Oaxaca, southern Mexico, read the newspapers about that. Anyway, so there's a lot of people who fight for the United States from these civilizations, and I have all the utmost admiration for them. They do more than I would have even done. The number of Jews in Western Europe is so small they cannot have noticeable influence upon the morality of the nations. But our country is invaded year after year by multitudes of assiduous pants-selling youths from the inexhaustible cradle of Poland. There you go. There it is. There it is. 1870s. That's why I like to read these things. I hope you find it not unvaluable. This is the program of 1940, 1930s. Dracht nach Austen. the drive to the east. Hitler knew that in getting control of Poland and these other places, he would get control of what this person is speaking here about, the inexhaustible cradle of Poland, whose children and grandchildren are the future rulers of Germany's stock exchanges and press. So there it is, and that's what the seeds are right there. Now it's going to be people like Herzl 20 years later who are going to say, enough. We know what these things are about, and we know what these other dreamers don't know. The Mendelssohn people all converted and tried to disappear, fair enough. But all the rest who didn't, we know what's in store. We know what is coming. Fortunately, America has never had this problem, not for Jews, Asians, Afro-Americans, sure, Afro-Americans have the slavery issue for sure, and the poor aftermath of the Civil War, after the assassination of Lincoln and the inability of the government to follow through. Not so different, by the way, what's happening in Iraq today, the inability of the government to follow through, allowing, armed bands of thugs to operate and kill and lynch and do that kind of stuff, of former Confederate soldiers who were just given free rein when the Union Army pulled out, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they didn't follow through, and so there is a justified complaint there. But with all that, America is not in the business of annihilating its ethnic groups. It really hasn't. It did this trouble and justice of the Japanese situation in the beginning of World War II. That, in fact, was mostly on the Pacific coast anyway because of the security concerns that were overwrought by the people who were in charge of things. But there's terrible injustice to have done that, and the Japanese put that right in their own noble behavior in that situation. But again, even there, I mean, though there were quasi-concentration camps, which is a blot on America, there were, which Reagan tried to heal through some financial consideration. I don't think that's sufficient, but that's, at least he made the gesture. That is not mass liquidation. That's not mass liquidation. America is not in the business, as far as I know, with any race of mass liquidation. It treats people harshly, and it makes them stand up on their own feet and fight for their rights and things. But it doesn't liquidate